TGIF, y'all. I am here getting ready to have a conversation with my girl Vanessa, the Dream Medium. Waiting for her to hop on. We're going to talk about the astral plane, all that good stuff. Dreaming, spirits. Hi, hi, hi. I got to go back. I got to get this girl on here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Gonza, the Dream Medium. Drinking wine. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
In a great mood.
I am. It's Friday.
TGIF. I'm so happy that you're on here with me because you usually hop on my live and you're in the comments.
I know.
And I'm so happy that you agreed to come on here and teach us some stuff because I got to be honest. First of all, let me turn off this music. Sorry, but I got to be honest. I haven't really met someone that calls themselves a dream medium. Mm-hmm. Like I haven't met an actual dream medium until like now. Yeah.
Right.
So I got to ask, like, what exactly, can you tell us exactly what a dream medium is for those that don't know?
Yeah. So, okay, dream medium is more like I set an intention before I go to bed to communicate with spirit on whatever question that you need clarity on. And then I just go to sleep and I dream and I have no control of the dream. It's not lucid at all. I am shown whatever needs to be shown to me in the way that spirit wants to share. Sometimes I get actual words, like they speak to me. It's sometimes just symbols that I decode, and I have my own dream language. Spirit knows what that is, so spirit shows me those symbols. And sometimes it could be songs, it could be anything. It's different for everyone. It's really interesting. But yeah, and then I wake up and, let you know what I saw and what was said to me and give you the message.
Wow. So does that mean, because I'm curious, I'm super curious, so I'm going to have a lot of questions probably, but does that mean that, like, if somebody wants, like a reading from you, like, is this the way that you do it? So then, like, someone would connect with you first and then tell you, like, what it is that they'd like to know, and then you go into that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so they reach out to me and let me know what they want answered. So all the questions have to be open-ended. There's no yes or no. We want to get the most information, that we can. So usually the most common question I get is, what do I need to know, do, or heal from to be able to move forward in life? That's kind of the common question, which is a good question because that's what we do need to learn. We need to learn. We need to know what's holding us back. And sometimes we just don't know. And we need to break that cycle of repeating these patterns. So that's a common one. I also get, what do I need to look for in a job? Is it something that I need to change careers on? And we just phrase the question so it's open-ended. And I like to always end in your highest alignment.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense because then usually it's like, well, I know with the universe, we have to be aligned to receive whatever it is that, they want to deliver to us.
Yes.
So my next question is
ask away.
No, because I'm going based off like me, like, what I've been through in life. And have you always known like you had this gift, or was it like you recognized you were a medium and then you recognized that you were actually a dream medium? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is this something that you've always had since childhood, or was it later? Like, so yeah.
Yeah. So my earliest relationship that I remember with spirit was 5. I've always saw spirit, even when I was awake, but it was always at night. Like they'd wake me up and I'd wake up and see all kinds of stuff. Freaked me out because I was little. I used to have really intense dreams of events that would happen in the world. Like I would see an actual kidnapping case. I would see, you know,
Wow.
at just at a young age, and I didn't know what to do with that. I used to get messages from past loved ones. They would come to me, and it was just something that I just thought that everyone did. And I didn't know that it was different until I started talking to my parents about it, and they just did not believe me. They were like, no, that's not true. No, no, no. You know, stop watching scary movies. And I'm like, I don't watch scary movies. Till this day, I don't watch scary movies.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you. I'm with you
yeah,
on that.
yeah. And I didn't know what all this was. And I didn't know that I could dream for other people until maybe about 2 years ago. I just decided to try it. I was researching and saw this dream school online, and this girl was talking about how she can dream for other people, and I'm like, I wonder if I could do that. And I started doing it, and I started trying it out and dreaming for other people around the world, and it's been great. It's awesome.
Wow. Amazing. I
Yeah.
would have to be there, like, have this whole conversation. All right, guys. Like, I need to find this out, so you got to help me out here because I don't remember, like, my dreams. Like, you know, I'm not going to say always, you know, because obviously I've also dealt a lot with, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But let me just focus for a second on this because my mind goes like quick. It's like down the block already. And I'm like, all right, let's relax. We have time. Um, so I know that for me, like, I struggle with remembering dreams. Like, and it doesn't happen all the time. I know for a fact that when I do remember, there's a reason why I have, you know, why I remember. So I always take notes. And, you know, I tell people, I know a lot of people have dream journals, and I'll tell people, like, you should write it down. But I have a lot, like, in my notes, like, in my phone.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in the middle of the night, you get up, you're dreaming, something happens, and you're like, you don't want to get up and start writing. I know I don't if I'm too tired. So, but I will grab my phone and speak into it and then try to, you know, decipher what the heck was said, because Siri doesn't always pick up everything that I'm saying.
Right.
But I do know that I can always ask my spiritual team, you know, to help me remember. Is that like a technique? You have tips? You know, like, I know that we have time or whatever, but is there anything like around that you can tell me?
Yes. Okay. So to remember, so you can always set the intention to remember. You can always start doing that.
Yeah.
You know, spirit, my guides, just help me remember my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I wake up. The good thing to do is when you dream, and it depends on different people, because some people wake up, you know, different times in the night, and then some people don't. They just wake up in the morning. And so I have my watch here.
Okay.
This is so good to have because you have your app, and you just download the voice app, and in the middle of the night, you wake up, you just talk into it. Turn it off, you go back to bed, wake up, put it in here, listen to it in the morning when you wake up. If you are a person who just wakes up in the morning, do not grab your phone. Do not, you know, get distracted and talk to whoever or talk to your husband or anything. You need to lay there and you just need to focus on what you were dreaming about and try to recall it. And then just stay still. Don't move. Don't think about anything. Don't think about what's going to go on. Just try to remember whatever you can remember, even if it's small. It doesn't even have to be the whole thing. It could be, you know, I was sitting in my car, and it could be anything. And it's also good to write down how you felt in the dream, how you, what colors you saw, if you saw colors, who was there, and how did those people make you feel. You have to write all that down because that's going to help you decode the dream. So it's a lot, but just take those baby steps and write it down, because the more that you do this, the more that it will come to you and the more that you will remember. And it does take time. It's not something that you're going to do tonight and you're going to be great at it and you're going to remember. Just don't stress yourself out. It takes time.
Right. it's so funny because you will always remember dreaming, you know, something bad or something negative. Like, and which was what I was gonna say, which, you know, people who are normally on here, they know because I've said this before, where I have struggled with, you know, like night terrors, like sleep paralysis. Like, you know, they'll say, like, they'll tell you, like, if you read up on it, it'll say, like, oh, you know, it can happen to you like once in your life, or, you know, a couple of times. Like, I'm talking about for years, all the time, my entire teenage years, I went through that. Like, I couldn't understand why, obviously, then.
Mm-hmm.
But I was told later on it's because I was so spiritually open that, you know, and I wasn't aware. And it was like, you know, they were having a field day. Like, oh, well, this girl doesn't know. So let's go. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, so I see somebody in the comments like, me too. Like, you go through that. And that's also a learning process, because now it's like you have to learn, you kind of learn how to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people that I've spoken to, like, they will struggle like getting out of it. Like, you know, and for me, I learned that, you know, saying Jesus' name, because
Mm-hmm.
that's my guy. Since I was like little, I've always, you know, I've always related to Jesus Christ, like always, right? So for some reason, like whenever I call on him, they leave me alone. Like I wake up, like that heaviness is gone.
Yeah. And the reason is, and I had this when I was a child too. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was being pushed on my bed and just being held down and I couldn't move. I used to hear like real demonic things. Like it was really scary. It
Mm-hmm.
scared me.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is to create boundaries and protection for yourself. That is foundational if you are working with spirit, and if you want to dream and communicate with spirit or do anything that's with spirit, cards, anything, you have to have boundaries. Spirit has to listen to you. You
Yep.
are in charge.
Yep.
Energy is energy, whether that is good energy, bad energy, dark energy, whatever you want to call it. It's still energy, and it's up to you whether you want to communicate with that or you don't. Set those boundaries, write it down, stand up, say it out loud, stand in your power, and
Yep.
they will listen to you.
Yeah. And I love that you said that, because, you know, as a teenager, you're not thinking about all this.
Mm-mm.
And especially when you're not thinking about spirit in that way, you're thinking like, you know, the worst. Like, you know, back then it was like, oh my God, there's like something like demonic in my room. There's dark forces. There's, you know, it's the devil. Like, you will think everything under the sun
Yeah.
when you don't know, or when you don't have someone to speak to about this. Like, you just broke it down. Like, you need this, you need this, you need this. Like, I needed somebody to tell me that then, because now, once I learned that I had the gift, because I too went through a lot. Like, my experiences started as little as like 4 or 5 years old, you know, having out of body experiences. And then the older I got, when I was 10, like, you know, them calling my name, me crying every night because I'm like, who the hell's calling my name? And my mother's telling me, no, nobody's calling your name. Like, you know, it's all in your head. Like, no, you know, and I'm like, I'm telling you that they are calling my name. I don't know who, but they.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you go through all that. And one thing that I have recognized too, which they say is like sign of being a medium, is that when you dream and you have like people that have passed away greet you.
Yeah.
Greet you. You know what I mean? Like, come to you and like have conversations with you. And there's one dream that stands out specifically, but I want to ask your thoughts on that. But one dream that stands out for me was when my grandmother from my mother's side, like, I was very close to my grandmother from my father's side, but my grandmother from my mother's side, I had a dream with her once, and she was crying to me and like leaning on my shoulder, and I was comforting her, like, it's okay. And then I woke up, but that's all I remember. And then I wake up and I'm like, well, why the hell was she crying? You know, like, and I say this to my mom, like, you know, your mom was like crying and like, you know, like leaning on me and stuff. And I don't know why. And she wanted to know, like, well, did she say anything? Did she do anything? No. But I know that we were sitting next to like a creek.
Mm-hmm.
and it was outdoors. And I remember that it was very green. We were like under a tree, and she was just leaning on me and crying, but I have no idea why. But like, what are your thoughts on that? Like when people that have crossed over come to visit you, like in a dream.
Okay, so visitations are always they are always accurate. Like that is an actual visitation. Now, if they're crying, I wouldn't necessarily say that they are sad. You
Yeah,
know, I would not, because in that heavenly space where they're at, which I've seen it twice already. It's like everybody's happy there. There is no like pain and suffering. However they left, they're not that way. They are
yeah,
okay. They are okay, and they are watching over you. So I wouldn't take that as she's in trouble or she's sad on the other side. No. The creek and the nature piece is very much like it's the elements. I love that. Anything with water is emotion.
yeah,
And it's probably more of how you feel or how the missing of her, but it's more like she's there. She's
yeah,
with you. Like, don't be so upset and sad. And that's what comes in most of the time, because we worry, we miss them, we want them, like we think of how they left their physical form, if they were sick, and we want them to feel better, but we kind of think in our own minds, I hope they're not in pain. I hope they're not suffering. I hope they're not alone. And they're not alone. Trust me,
yeah. That I know. Yep.
it's a whole crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because with her, the thing is with her is that when I was pregnant with my daughter, her and I bumped heads a lot. Like she lived with us at that time. But then, like she moved back. She lived in Chicago. She moved back to Chicago literally like maybe a month before I had my daughter. And I was very upset with that. Like then, I was young. I was like 20 years old. So, but I was very upset then. Like, why are you leaving? Like, like your great granddaughter's about to be born. Like, why would you leave? And she left. And then we sent her like a package for Mother's Day. And I put all these pictures of my daughter in there. And the package got lost. And then my grandmother had a heart attack and she passed. So it could be all that. Like I was so upset that, she never had that. But then she asked me to send photos and then I send it and then the package gets lost and then she passes away. It was a lot. Like,
But
so now,
she did see those photos.
yeah, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I'm here with you as far as that. But back then, you kind of like struggle with that. You struggle with that. There's so much that I know now that I didn't know then. But
Amen.
you know what I mean? But it's like, these are the things that I think about. Like, like when she came to me and she was like crying, I was like, it's cool. Like we're okay. So I like that you said that. Like, but I do know that once we cross over, like they're in a way better place than like where we are. Like,
Yes. Do not be afraid to die.
no. And I was afraid of death too. Like as a kid, oh my God, was I afraid of death? Like, and that, like hearing people calling my name in the dark, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. They're coming to get me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like, have you ever experienced like out of body stuff and things like that besides like, when we go dream and we astral travel?
Oh, girl, yes. Astral traveling. I've been in places. Let me tell you, I, I had a dream that, and I'm so connected to California. I have no idea why. But I was driving this car. It was a convertible car, and I was like driving on these hills, and it was a sunny day, and I always get sunburn on my nose, like right here, every time I'm outside. I woke up with sunburn on my face in the middle of the night.
What?
Yes.
Nah.
I'm not even
What?
saying I don't even know what that is. Okay. I can't even tell you what that is. It freaked me out. That happened one time. Second time, and it's only happened twice. Second time I was swimming in some pool, woke up, and my hair was completely drenched. Like I literally went like this and water came out. It was crazy.
That's amazing crazy though.
It is. So I kind of felt like, did I go? What happened? I don't know. Those are strange things. Out of body, yes, I felt like myself leave my body, see things come back. That's rare. I don't really like the feeling of that. So that's probably why I choose not to do it. I have a lot of prophetic dreams where they're futuristic. So, and it's globally, like I see things happening around the world, like crimes, trafficking, kidnappings, and they'll tell me exactly where it's at. Like they'll tell me the country and everything. And that's hard because it's kind of like, what do you do with that information? You kind of just have to pray for those people and like hope something good comes out of it. But that's hard. And so that comes in every now and again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like every year, somebody's always like, oh, so do you have like, predictions for the coming year? And I'm always like, I just don't want to. Like, I don't know what it is, but for me, it's like, I don't even want to entertain that. And I did that one time for a podcast that I was on, and it was that, like, they asked, can you give a prediction? So I was like, all right. So I gave, like my prediction of like this, a hip hop artist that, had like a profound effect on a lot of people and this and that. And I didn't realize that, all of a sudden, like after I did that prediction, it was 3 months before his death, 4 months before his death. And I just, started like watching interviews of him and really getting into this guy. I'm talking about Nipsey Hussle. And I got into like his, his interviews and the things that he was saying and like where his mind was. And I just kept like really like, I got so like interested in his mind and the way that he was thinking, because I get so attracted to people's minds. Like I do. And I love to listen to them, tell their stories or tell like, what their thoughts are. And I remember that, like I got into him and then next thing you know, like Nipsey Hussle died. And I'm like, oh my God, like I just found this guy. Mm-hmm. And then, my co-host was like, oh my God, you said it was going to be, this guy within the first 3 months, within this, that. And I was just there like, this is why I don't even want to entertain it.
That's amazing. That's crazy though. Like, how do you even make that up? You can't.
It was just like, damn, like really? And it's not like I want to sit here and predict people's deaths, because I don't. Like that's not like my thing. So I can understand like what I'm saying is like, if you're getting something that has to do with the world or like something like huge and you're like, what do I do with that? Mm-hmm. It's got to be hard sometimes when you feel it and know it, like, damn, I know it's going to go exactly like this and it sucks.
Yes, it does. Because what do you do with it? It's hard. And like globally, collectively, there's a lot going on. There has been a lot going on. So I don't set intentions every night, because I dream regardless. I only set intentions if I really, really want to know something for myself, or if I'm dreaming for someone else. And I think it's important to also have, ethical and standards, as a spiritual person, as a medium, you have to set those for yourself. Like I will not dream about death, who, what, when, where. I'm not going to do it. That's a boundary that I have. Also medical diagnosis, I won't dream about that either. Because I'm not a doctor and I'm not going to act like I am.
Yep.
And third party questions. I'm not going to ask spirit, what does so-and-so think of this? Or is so-and-so cheating on my friend so-and-so? I'm not going to do that, because I really think that you need to ask permission to that other person.
Yeah. Well, I was actually taught that.
Yeah.
Like, that the morals and all that when it comes to mediumship. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, when I give readings, like sometimes people will just assume like, like, well, I don't want to hear anything bad. Like, please don't tell me about somebody dying or this, that, and the third. And I too have a boundary where when I give a reading, I'm like, give me something positive, something that's going to enlighten this soul right here. Like, give me something good. And if you have to give warnings, okay, fine. Like, I can do something like that. Like, oh, be careful how you handle this situation, or how, spirit is saying, watch your approach, or whatever the case, like, but for me to sit here and be like, oh, so, in a couple of weeks, this person that is gonna like cross over, like,
Yeah. No.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah. No, I don't want to know, and I'm not gonna give that news to anybody. So yeah.
Yeah, because you want people to like keep living. Like, you've been on my live when I'm like, we have to live. We can't just exist. So imagine if I'm sitting here, and I feel instilling some fear in that person too. Like, like, well, this could happen to you in 2 weeks, so you better do this. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to focus on? Are you think you're going to focus on the present, or are you going to be worried about, 2 weeks from now? Of course, you're going to be worried about 2 weeks from now. And I think that people don't recognize too, as mediums, that sometimes, a lot of times, it's very hard to predict time as well. Like, it's very hard. Like, some people want to know, like, now, like, well, when am I going to meet my person? How long? And
Yeah.
sometimes spirit will give me a number, like, they'll give me 3. And I'm like, well, I don't know if it's 3 months or 3 years, but they're giving me this. I'll give it to you, but I can't confirm, in 3 months, they're going to be, it's really going to happen, because we also have free will, and you know how that goes.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing of, the psychic futuristic timelines, is because if you continue on this path that you're doing, the path that you're currently on, and you don't change anything, it looks like this. This is your time frame. But because we have free will, we can detour and do something else. And then that timeline that you gave is completely off. And that's not your fault. That's not information that you got wrong. That is the person's free will to take another path.
Right.
So it is tricky. Mm-hmm.
Right. And people will just assume, like, well, no, well, that psychic sucked because they told me this and that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to sit there and be like, well, let me break it down to you. this is why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what I want to ask you too is, the way that I've been told, that I've never tried it, but I do know people that have had like the same dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know some sisters that told me, like, 3 of us had the same exact dream. It's almost like they met up in the dream world. What do you have to say, like, about that? What can you share as far as what you know about that?
So because your sisters, usually like they're connected already, and it's very common that they do dream, and they can be in the same dream, same place, and that goes not just because only sisters, but also friendships. If you're super super close to somebody spiritually, you can be in each other's dreams. I know that I co-dream with my friend from New York, and we do these once a month collective dream messages that we share, and we have like puzzle pieces come together, and we've been in each other's dreams, and it's just that connection that you have. Now if you have like reoccurring dreams, like you're not so much into those people, but the dreams that you're having are reoccurring, you keep on having it, that is just because you're not dealing with something that you should be dealing with, and spirit is showing you again and again until you correct it and fix it. So it's about listening to, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, and that was going to be my next question. Can you meet with someone in the astral plane? Because I heard you can. Like,
Yes.
just
Yes.
meet with your friend in New York. So how does that work though? Do you like you said, do you set the intention? Do you tell your friend, okay, let's meet tonight? Or, let's meet up on the astral and dream world in the astral plane. Like, how does that work? Like,
Okay.
how do you go about it?
So initially, we've been doing this for a whole year, since January. And so initially we did do it. We set the date, the time, and we were like, we're going to set the same intention and go to sleep. And that's how we started. Now we don't. We know at the end of the month that we are going to be dreaming, and we just do it. We don't let each other know. We don't do it on the same day. There's times where we don't even set the intention because spirit already knows that, okay, this week she's going to be dreaming for the collective. And we think about it because, you know, spirit hears what goes on in your mind too. You know, and so they already know that your intention in your head is to dream for the collective. And so it just happens. So it's crazy how it all unfolds, but yeah.
Wow. So could you actually be like, all right, like that, like my grandmother, okay, I want to speak to you tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak to someone from the others? Can you also do the same thing that way?
Yes.
Like be to like, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's people who want to know. They want to know. They want to get messages from their father or from their grandmother. And the recent one that I did was one for this girl, and she wanted, and it's funny because she didn't even want to know about her dad. Like that wasn't even her question.
Right.
But he popped in because she wanted to hear from him herself, and he popped in the dream, and I was shown a memory of her and cheerleading and not remembering the routine, and then looking at the bleachers, and then I saw a man at the bleachers. And so when I told her about this, she just cried, and she told me that that was the best memory she had when she was 13 of her father before he died. And he always made it a point to go see her when she cheered, and she thought he wasn't going to show up. And when she saw him, she just froze and was like, he's there, and oh my God. So that was a memory that was important to her, and that was a memory that he brought in, that he shared, and that was just something they both shared that I had no idea. I mean, I don't know her. I didn't know what she did at 13. Like, this is what I'm saying is like different things pop up, and I'm just shown whatever I'm shown in the way that they want to share it. So
Right. That's amazing. That is freaking amazing. I'm over here like, I gotta try like half this stuff. No, because I do know that, you know, you can dream with like your spirit guides and things like that, or ancestors. Like people pop up, and it's happened to me. Like they'll pop up and I'm there talking to them. Like I've known them my entire life, and spiritually I have, but you know, I'm not fully aware that I know this person, but I'm there like so comfortable, and I'm speaking to them, and sometimes like I'll hug them and like whatever goes down, and then I wake up and I'm like, wait, who is this person? Who was this person? You know, like,
yes.
And it's like, you know, but yet they can come and give you like messages, and they can say things to you. They can comfort you when you need it. And that's what I love. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then like, you know, it takes time to figure out who's there in your dream. Like, I know for me, I see a lot of ancestors in my dreams, and they come in forms of my mom and my grandma, because they're both alive. And I know that that's on that side, and that is my great grandmother or my great great grandmother, because there's a lineage of abilities and that side that I didn't know about, and I just found out. But I know that my grandmother is with me all the time. My grandfather's with me. These two people died before I was born, but they do show up. They do show up. And that's why it's important to find out who your guides are, have a relationship, and what that feels like, what that looks like. I found a lot of it out through meditation, you know, just to introduce themselves, you know, what they feel like, what they look like. So that way, when they're in your dream space, you know. So like angels, they show up for me as like balls of light. And then in my waking life, I see them, like I see the lights flicker like here and there. And I know that, okay, there's an angel here. You know, so that's what I mean about like symbols and communicating. It's something that you have to learn and build, and always, and if you don't know, the next night you go to sleep, just ask. Just say, I need clarification. I think this is what you told me. Is this what you told me? If not, show me another way. And then go to sleep, and then see what you get.
Yeah. And I always say that too. Like, if you need clarification, you need to ask them. Like sometimes, you know, it's like if I'm having a conversation with you right now and all of a sudden I get like this ringing in my ear and I know right away, I'm like, oh, you guys are trying to tell me something and you have to find a better way because I'm not getting it. Like, I know we're not on the same frequency. Like, like I need you to find a different way. And they do. And they do. And my next question was going to be with what you're saying is like, sometimes you have a dream with someone. Like, let's say I have a dream with my brother. I know that's my brother, but it doesn't look like him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, you're schooling us, girl. I need to hear what you.
Is your brother alive?
My brother's alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
It could be a lot of things. I mean, if it's your brother and he's alive, it could be something that maybe he's going through something that he needs to speak on, or he's kind of holding something back. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's an uncle that passed away that's coming in as your brother. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that. It's just how you feel and what's going on. So I would probably check in with your brother first. and then
yeah, like, well, now he's good. Yeah, but
yeah, and just ask like, hey, I've been thinking about you, how's it going? Or, and I do that with people I know too, because I dream about people too, and they're still alive. And I feel like they're thinking about me that much, or they need help, or I just need to reach out to them. There's a reason why I dream about people. So more than likely I would reach out.
So that's an indication then, like if they show up and it's them, but it doesn't look like them.
Yeah. And then also people who have passed, I know like my uncle, he died, I think in his 50s, but he shows up as a teenager and I just knew it was him. And I wasn't even born yet when he was a teenager, but, yeah, he shows up as a teenager. And that's something that I've learned is that they show up in their happiest moments. They show up in what was happy to them in that point in life. And for him, it was a teenager, and that's how he shows up. And I really like how they get to show up how they want to.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. I've had like people's family members, like I'll be giving a reading and like, a grandfather will come and I'll feel the energy. I'll be like, this is definitely like a grandfather or like a great grandfather, but they're coming in this way. And it's like a young version. Like wearing something or like showing me something. And then when I say, whatever it is, then it starts to like sink in for like that client. They'll be like, oh my God, that's my grandfather. Or, oh my God, like, if they show me like a deck of cards or something, oh my God, we used to play that all the time. Like, like certain things that they show up with, but then they come looking different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even smells, like I get out of my car and I'm walking in the parking lot going to a store and all of a sudden I smell weed. Like, I look around like, who's smoking? There's nobody smoking. But I've had uncles and cousins who were really big in that, and I'm like, it has to be one of them. And I'm like, thanks.
That has happened to me too. Like, I'm like working in my office and like I had someone that I grew up with and he was the one that kept telling me like, oh, you have the gift, you need to like start doing like readings. But he was like a Santeria, that religion, like he was a santero, and he would like give me readings, like set up his table and this and that, and it always came out. He would always tell me like, you have the gift, you need to figure this out. But I knew that wasn't my route. Like that wasn't what he did, wasn't for me. Like that religion is not for me.
Yeah.
But he would always like tell me this. And then he would always say too, like he worked with like a specific spirit and it was a woman and she would give him like all these messages for me. And then he would tell me like, if you ever smell cigarettes, that's her. Like, so one time I'm like in my office and he had passed away. He passed away. And I'm sitting in the office and I just get like a big whiff of like the same like cigarette smell that would be in his house when he's giving me like these readings. And I was just like, oh my God. So I'm like asking like my coworker, like across the hall, like, do you smell like cigarettes? And nobody smelled it. And I was like, that's for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's around me. It happened to me in an office. It happened to me like on a train platform with like nobody around. Like it was just like really different, odd places. And they just like, they give you that smell.
Yeah. And it's just visitation. It's just letting them know, because how are they going to communicate? You know, they have to mess with the lights. They have to, you know, give you the smells. You know, you see them in the corner of your eye and you're like, did I see that? Did you see that? You know, you kind of question it, but I mean, they're just with you, and that's important. They just want you to know they're there.
Oh my God, I love it. I love this conversation. I was like, I need to talk to this girl because I love talking about things that have to do with dreams.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody in here has a question, there's a question box. Like if you want to ask something, because we're probably going to be on only till like 9. And for those that sent me like dream interpretations, we're not doing dream interpretations tonight because it takes a little time. Like it takes a little time. But I did ask Vanessa if she was down to do another live a different time, and I think she said yes.
Yes, yes.
So just so you know,
yes,
maybe we could do like 2 or 3. Like I'll pick some random people. I don't know.
Yes, and they're gonna have to go. You have to be okay with going live because
you have to be okay with coming on here, exactly, and letting her dissect.
Yes, because this is gonna be like a conversation. We're gonna break it down, and also, if you can just do those steps like I told you, so you can get the most information, how you felt, who you saw, what was there, what was said. Yeah, all those things.
Write it down, because I have people that do come to me too for a dream interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
I told you. And once I started doing that, like they started telling their family members, they started, oh, this one had a dream about this. Can you tell me a little bit? And I don't know, I'm just good at it. Like, I don't know, it just comes to me like, oh, well, you know, this would mean this and this. And, you know, and a lot of times it just hits the nail on the head for them. Like they just get a message out of it. They get some guidance out of it.
Yeah, and so it's always good. Like you have to create your own dream language. That is the whole point of writing your dreams down, because like, for example, you could dream about a dog, right? Okay, so dogs are like loving, cuddly, they're so happy to see you every single day. But what if you had a bad experience as a child and you got attacked by a dog and you genuinely don't like dogs because you're scared? So a dog for me could mean happy, cuddly, and for you, it could be something fearful. So that's why it's important, because this is your dream language. This is what it means to you. And that's why you have to write it down. And that's why we're going to talk about it and have a conversation. Yeah.
Right. This is so exciting.
Yeah.
This is so exciting because, like I told you earlier, like people just started sending me dreams. Like they DM me dreams.
Yeah.
I'm gonna forward probably some of them so you take a look at it. Yeah. But people have forwarded me a couple of dreams, so I'm gonna see like who is willing to come on.
Okay.
Be live, because some people are sent. You know, some people are like, oh, I can't go on a live, but then there's some people that are like, let's do it. Yeah. So
it can get personal. That's why.
Yeah. Let me just check this 1 minute because I got questions here. What can you do to dream with loved ones who have passed and have conversations with them? Well, we spoke on that, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about lucid dreaming? I was practicing that for a long time and it worked. What does it mean when you have the same dream more than once, like 7 times? Okay, she touched on that as well. What about the lucid dreaming one?
Okay, so lucid, I personally do not lucid dream because I'm going to tell you why. It's so important. Okay, so lucid dream is where you have control of the dream. You are making decisions, you know, you are in control. So when I speak to spirit, I don't want to lucid because I don't want to have control. I don't want it to come from me, like my own thoughts, my own judgments. I want it to be pure from source. So that's why I do not lucid dream when I dream for other people. You can, it is helpful for you if you want to, because I know people who do it. I'm part of a group that it's like a lucid group, and you know, they're big dreamers, and it helps, you know, it has helped with their business and decisions to make. And that's good. But for me and my business, I am not going to lucid dream. I want pure information from source.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I've had dreams where I had this another weird one really quick where I'm dreaming And then it's like, I don't know that I'm dreaming. You know, I'm sitting there. I could see everything in my room, watching the TV. The light is on. I'm there like, you know, like leaning on a pillow. Like I'm just leaning there. And then all of a sudden, like my pillow, they start tugging on my pillow. Like I knew, I was like, here we go. Like that's the moment that I realized, like, damn it, I'm having one of these freaking like night terror type dreams, you know, like they pull my pillow. So now I'm fighting it, right? And then I say like, and at that time I think I mentioned Jesus. I'm not 100% sure. But then it's like, all right, like I wake up, I think I'm awake, but I'm still there.
Yes.
I still see the same thing, same scenario, everything. Only this time they grab the pillow and put it over my face. And I'm like, oh no, we're not doing this. So then like I really start like putting out like to Jesus, and then like I fully wake up. Like, and I'm like in the dark and I'm like, okay, now I'm awake.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't like I fell asleep with everything on. It was just like that. Like you're still in it. You think you get out, but you're still in it. That has happened to me a few times since childhood.
Yeah.
What do you know, if anything, about like that?
That has happened to me. It has happened to me where like I dream, like I see myself asleep and I wake up, but I'm still asleep. So I have to wake up like 2 or 3 times to actually wake up. It's really crazy. It's like sleep within a sleep within a sleep. I don't know why that happens. It randomly happens to me. I don't know what that is, honestly.
It's terrible.
It's
what it is.
confusing and it's weird, and I think it's kind of like an out of body in a sense where you kind of go out and in, and then you wake up, and then but you didn't. It's weird. It's really weird. I don't think there's a message in that. It's just,
yeah, I just felt like you know, that like they're really messing with me right now. Like they're really trying it. Yeah. Because once like I thought I was awake, and then they pulled the pillow again to put it over my, I was like, oh no, we're not doing this. I'm definitely dreaming right now. Like, no.
Yeah.
This is acceptable.
Yes. And if it's dark, if you're dreaming about something dark and you know, and you feel it, you know, what has always worked for me, and it always just happens. I always recite the Our Father prayer.
Yep.
And
I do that too.
They leave like this.
Yep. Right away.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. It's like, oh no, we gotta go.
Like skirt. Yeah, they're out.
Yeah, we gotta go. There's one more. There's 2 more questions, but I did have. I just want to share this with you too. Like the last one. One of the creepiest dreams that I had ever was like, I'm like sleeping, but I'm awake now. I'm in my room. I'm dreaming, and I know that I didn't know at the moment, but I remembered I had like rugs then. Like this is like an old apartment, like years back. I was still married and everything, and I hear a marble rolling. It started from my left side. Now it's going around my bed. It's coming around, and I'm like, it hits me. First of all, I don't have like wooden floors or anything like that. I don't have like that type of floor. I was like, those vinyl, you know, floors. I was like, damn it, I know what this is. And I just started like right away. I started the Our Father. I called on Jesus. Boom, they left me alone. Yeah. I was like, you guys are about to do something like really off the wall, and I'm not here for it.
I mean, I've even seen like alien activity, planetary. I mean, yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Like, whew, my hands are standing with that.
Yes, I have a boundary for that one. Okay, you create boundaries as you go, because you get introduced to new things, and it's up to you whether you feel comfortable with it or not. And if you don't, that's okay. Just create a boundary for it. And
yep, get up. You're like, we're not doing that.
I don't want to see.
Sorry, guys.
Change your form.
We're not doing this ever. Do your dreams intensify with the new moon and the full moon?
Ooh, yes, they do. They do have an effect. The full moons. I feel like they're more emotional. They're heightened.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Especially like the energy. The energy alone is heightened. And I think we're having a full moon tonight.
Is it tonight?
It's tonight. I heard it was 11:42 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's, yeah. That's
Okay.
2 for us and like 1:42 for you, right? I think you're an hour behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
New York. Yeah. So
bring on the new. Bring on the new. We want the new stuff.
set your intentions for your dreams tonight if you want to, because they're coming in. They're coming in. And we did touch on, somebody asked about thoughts on shared dreams. We did touch on that. For who, you know, for a girl named Jess, I know that she's asking. We touched on that. So if you catch the replay, you'll be able to see everything that Vanessa said on that. So, and one last question before we start to wrap it up. Thoughts on recurring dreams after years in between seeing the first. That has to do with lessons too, right?
Yes.
She touched on that as well. It's like a lesson you're not learning, and they're giving you the message as you sleep, and they keep giving it to you to see if you're gonna catch it. You're gonna understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm laughing because they do this all the time.
Yeah, we're all learning. We all get it. You're not the only one.
Yeah, it's like whether you're sleeping, whether you're awake, they're doing the most. They're like, we did come here to learn and grow, and you know, this is what we decided. So they want to make sure you're gonna learn it while you're here.
Yes.
But Vanessa, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Yes, it was. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you came on.
Aww.
No, because I love it. Like I had questions too. Like I need to know these things, like as far as like the astral plane and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And people, you know, they love to speak about their dreams, and you know, they want like interpretations and things like that. So as I said, we will do another live. Mm-hmm. But you have to agree to come on and share your dream, and you know, get ready for Vanessa to like dissect you.
Get ready.
Get ready. Because she's coming in.
I'm coming, guys.
Yeah, but this was amazing. We truly appreciate you hopping on here and sharing. Like, I think the first time you hopped on my live and I saw your name, I was like, "Oh, a dream medium." I was like, "What is that?" And then I started checking out your stuff. Then that's why I was like, "I gotta have this girl on the live. It has to happen."
You got it.
It has to happen. Wait, so you've had your gift your entire life then, right?
I did.
Pretty much.
I did. Yeah. I just never used it for other people until now. Yeah, till about 2 years.
So you really, before we hop off, like, because I forgot to ask that earlier. So you knew since you were a child, but you didn't start actually practicing it and really getting into it until now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So I just ask. I know that if it's okay, like I might touch on your personal life just a little bit, but
go ahead.
Like,
the way
your spouse, your soon, I don't know, whatever's going down, but your spouse. Right? Was he aware of your gift? And was he supportive of it?
Oh, girl, I don't know if we got time for this, but
because I know mine wasn't. So I just
no, a typical narcissist person. No, he was not into this. He didn't think that it was true. He comes from a scientific doctor background, so he does not think, which is interesting because there's still energy there. He did not think of this as a thing. He wasn't very supportive. He didn't want to hear what I had to say. He was against it and said that, started saying stuff from the Bible that's not coming from God, and, you know, all these things. And so he was not very supportive. And
I figured that.
I'm glad that's over with, because the next person in my life is going to be high vibration and is going to support me in what I do. And that's it. Like, I'm done with that chapter. But yeah, you have to have somebody who supports you. And you know what, if they don't believe, they don't have the same faith or whatever, hold space for them. Like, they, you know, it's like you have to hold space for people and just be supportive. You know, you don't have to agree with everything. That's okay if you don't, but don't put people down for it. Don't be so judgmental.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Oh my God. Like, I just see, like, and you know, some things like that we spoke on, and I'm like, I think we're living like parallel lives over here, because you're going through what I've already went through.
Yeah.
And I say it and I keep saying it, like getting out of that was the best thing I ever did for me, because not only did I find my own self, like my own self-love, and I, you know, I went back to me, I went back home, you know, I'm happier. And, you know, I have people around me that support me. You know what I mean? Like I have like, you know, a man in my life that supports me as far as that. That's okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I needed, because when you're in a space like that, like people don't realize too, when you're like having your spiritual awakening or whatever, and you don't have supportive people or a partner in your life, it makes it even more harder for us, because we're struggling to be us. Like this is a whole part of us, like an entire piece of you, and you want to walk around, you know, your life whole, not, you know, like where you're feeling like this piece is missing. And so I know that was a huge piece for me. That's why I had to ask. I was like, I gotta ask her real quick.
Yes,
So,
so that's fine. It's fine.
you know, I'm to me, you're glowing, you're beautiful, you're doing your thing, keep doing it, keep helping other people, keep learning about you, keep sharing with us, because we truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And yeah, so we'll do another one another time. But thank you so much again. Besitos to you guys. Vanessa, the Dream Medium, go follow her now. And we'll do another live. I'll announce it. We'll schedule it.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Have an amazing night, guys. Thank you, Vanessa.
Bye.
Bye.